Hello, it's Barnaby, and welcome to a very special Blumenfolk Film Talk interview video. Before we jump in, I'll provide a little bit of context. So, at the beginning of this year, 2020, before the various lockdown shenanigans happened in the UK, I don't think I'm allowed to mention the C word on YouTube, so we'll call them lockdown shenanigans, I found this absolutely awesome piece of theatre, Night of the Living Dead REMIX. To say that this piece of theatre was transcendent would be an understatement. I don't really think I'm exaggerating there, it really was a fantastic experience. It'll be explained more in the video, but basically it was a live shot-for-shot recreation of the granddaddy of all modern zombie films, Night of the Living Dead. I'd been wanting to make a video about this performance since February, but I couldn't really think of what kind of video I wanted to do. So, after months of putting it off, I thought, why don't I just send an email off to the production company, Imitating the Dog, and see if they have anything to say about it. And to my surprise, I got a response, and that led to the following interview. Okay, that's enough from me. I hope you enjoyed the video. Well, first of all, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Sure. My name's Morven Macbeth. I'm an actor and theatre maker, and I'm an Associate-Practitioner with theatre company Imitating the Dog, who, alongside LEEDS Playhouse, it was a co-production, were responsible for making Night of the Living Dead REMIX. The show was conceived as a live, in a theatre, shot-for-shot, in real time remake of the 1968 zombie seminal classic Night of the Living Dead. The idea was that an audience would come into a theatre and watch live on stage a group of actors try and keep up with the film as they try and remake it in real time before their very eyes. So we had two projection screens hung up above the stage, one showing the original 1968 film, so literally press play at the start of the film, the credit sequence rolls and it goes into the film. As that begins, some of the performers enter the stage with cameras in their hands, and what we are filming is projected live onto the screen alongside the original film. So the audience is watching three things essentially. They're watching the actors on the stage, they're watching the screen showing the original movie, and they're showing a screen showing the film that we are making live in front of them. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. That's so cool. Could you explain what your role in the production was? Like how involved you were?
Sure. So I was playing Helen Cooper, who in the original film was played by Marilyn Eastman, who is this sort of terribly, impossibly glamorous, in a very 1960s all-American woman sort of a way. So that was the character that I was playing in the film, but also, of course, all of the performers were not only playing their main character, but they were also camera operators. They were prop wranglers, they were zombies, they were whatever we were each called to be in order to be able to recreate the film in real time. So you would find yourself playing your character, then you would be getting into position to set up the next shot by one, playing the right shoulder of a completely different character. It was full on as a performer being on the stage, and so of course the rehearsal process was a lot based around working out how 7 on-stage performers and 1 model maker and operator, how the 8 of us could physically manage how to recreate shot for shot the film without stopping, without pausing, without changing anything radically. We took a bit of artistic license with some sections. Imitating the Dog have been making work for over 20 years now. I've been working with them for 15 of those years, and the company's always been interested in the relationship between the recorded and the live. So we're really interested in examining and kind of pulling apart the sort of pleasure that an audience experiences in the cinema. So sitting in the dark, watching a story unfold that is fixed. You know, a film is a fixed story, it's never going to change. So that pleasure, that experience of as an audience member when you go to the cinema has some similarities when you go to the theatre, but there are some key differences. So in a theatre, you're sitting in the dark with your fellow audience members around you. But in a theatre, I think often one is much more sort of attuned and keyed in to fellow audience members. So their laughter, even their breath, the kind of mood, the atmosphere in the auditorium, I think is really key. And also the fact, really obviously, but it bears some thinking about, that the story that you're watching unfold could change at any minute, that is different every single night by virtue of the fact that it's live. So a film can never change, but a play will be different subtly or radically and everything in between every single night. And there's of course magic in that, and there's danger in that, and there's a thrill involved in that.
So how did the idea come about? Do you sort of know, or is that top secret?
No, not at all. So in terms of choosing Night of the Living Dead as a film to remake, we've never done this before. It was something we'd actually been thinking about making a film over the years. Lots of people have said to us, "Why don't you just make a film?" And we thought, well, yeah, we could, but we're sort of too interested in theatre to just make a film. We're a theatre company, so that sort of didn't make a lot of sense to us. So then I guess through a filtration process and things bubbling away as they always do within the company for years sometimes, we had the idea to remake, shot for shot, a classic film. So we started looking at Psycho, actually. Hitchcock's Psycho was the first film that came to us, yes. And we actually, a lot of our work starts life in sort of student projects. So we do a lot of education work, we do a lot of learning programs and residencies. So we ran a couple of residencies using Psycho as the blueprint to, great success. It was some of those projects were fantastic. But when we really started thinking about, okay, how do we develop this idea into a mid-scale touring piece of theatre? And we sort of scratched the surface of looking at getting the rights for Psycho. And it became apparent very quickly that was not going to happen. So we stepped back from that and thought, okay, if Psycho's not going to work, what other kind of film would we like to make? And we wanted to stay in the kind of horror thriller genre. The whole company are massive zombie movie fans. So Night of the Living Dead seemed like a great choice. Obviously, there's also the factor that it's in the public domain. There was a massive cock-up, basically. The film was originally called The Night of the Flesh Eaters. And Image 10, the production company who made the film, sort of handed the film over to a distribution company who changed the name to Night of the Living Dead. And when the distribution company changed the name, they forgot to put the copyright indicators on the prints. Simple as that. So the film was released, and in that moment it entered the public domain because there was no copyright on it. So we, obviously, being the good citizens that we are, approached Image 10 in the US and started a conversation with them, explained to them the idea behind the project. Would we have their blessing to do it? Obviously, we came to an arrangement with them. And they were amazing. They were incredibly supportive. Russ Striner, who is still, very much involved with Image 10. He was, a key part of making the film. He plays Johnny. He was just brilliant. He was so supportive. He did an interview with us, made a few little films for us to sort of, say hello and talk a bit about the film. He was great. And Judith O'Day as well, who played Barbara. She made a little film for us too. And yeah, it's like, oh my goodness, these legends, absolute legends of cinema were completely behind the project. So yeah, it was great. So yeah, Image 10 were fully behind it, and it was fully endorsed by them. So then cut to January, February, March 2020, when Imitating the Dog were touring the show. It was just brilliant. The response that we had on Twitter, on Instagram, Facebook, across the press. We had some, lots of very starry, 4-star reviews across the board. It was just brilliant. People, huge fans of the film, theatre goers, sort of classic movie fans, across the board. People would be sort of hanging out in the bar, waiting to chat to us, and the response was so warm and so enthusiastic. It was a real pleasure. So yeah, the whole thing was a really great experience, and obviously we hope that the show will have life beyond COVID. The whole thing shut down on the 16th of March. We were towards the end of the tour. We hope that it will perform and see the light of day again. We'll see.
Well, that's all my set questions, but if there's anything else you'd like to say about the show, don't know if there is.
I think your questions pretty much covered it all, actually. Yeah, it was, I just really keep my fingers crossed that we'll be able to perform it again. One thing to say is that it is still available on the Imitating the Dog website. If you go to www.imitatingthedog.co.uk, and that will bring you onto our homepage, and there's a watch tab, and you can watch back some of Imitating the Dog's previous work, and Night of the Living Dead Remix is still available, probably not for much longer, but it's still available on there. So if people would like to take a look, it's still available to see on the website.
Cool. I'll put a link either on the video or below or somewhere. I'll direct people there. All right. Oh, thank you very much.
Pleasure. Good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you too. Hey there, I hope you enjoyed this Blumenfolk Film Talk interview video. I know it's a little different, but I just thought Night of the Living Dead Remix was such a cool little thing. Yeah, if you enjoyed this type of video, let us know. Perhaps we'll try and get in contact with more cool creative people or filmmakers, anything related with film. If you can, please check out Imitating the Dog's other works, they're really cool. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it, share it around, maybe leave us a comment, and please subscribe, that would really do us a solid. Alright, thanks very much, take care, see you soon.